right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll do it. All right, y'all. Mullins is here. It's a couple days before season. He's been on my case, man. You need to do a calling video about some different odd ends that we kind of take for granted because I had an uncle and a brother who taught me to blow, and I just kind of second nature to me.
Well, here's the deal. You know, we did that video 2 years ago, I guess, on like tuning calls, you know, how long will a cork hold up and everything. We got so many views on that. And me being from East Tennessee, our hunting is totally different than your hunting. And calling ducks is totally different there or anywhere around the country. It's different. But all of it can be blended the same. But, you know, I'm coming up here, I'm like, Rusty, why don't you do a video? Because he's so talented with duck call. Why don't you do a video on just what can help me or any other average duck hunter about like just basic stuff that we overlook. Just like 3 simple calls that every duck hunter should have, or 3 techniques that everybody should have that'll work in all these situations, and that's why we're here.
Because it's the same ducks whether they're in East Tennessee or they're in Arkansas.
Right.
I think they're smarter over here, down here.
There's no question.
But, I guess if I had to sum it, in 3 different calls, you obviously got a hail call, and then you kind of got what would be just some ducks, what in competition would be called transitions, and then you got a feed call.
And the lower level, if you're here and you're me, you get the whistle occasionally, which I give that at home to other people because you get the level of calling. But here I'm the whistler. So
Whistler? What do you mean?
you just get the mallard.
You do the
whistle.
Drake whistle? You're
Yes,
that guy.
That's me when I'm
Jerk
in
string.
Arkansas.
There's only one step lower than the whistle, and
It's
that's
the
the jerk
guy.
string.
You're exactly right.
I guess kind of paint the picture. You see ducks and they're in a distance. You're going to do a hail call. All right, so some people do hail calls different than others. But it all starts kind of the way I do it with the word hut. And in the previous video, you know, you've seen us go, and you can hear that hot air coming through the call as you're saying hut, kind of like hut, hut, hut. You really want the air to come from down low. All right, so the hail call, like I said, starts and ends with hut. It's just hot air in the call. You're like, hut, hut, hut. You can hear that hot air. So you kind of got that down. So there's kind of 2 types of hail calls. You can kind of do a gradual hail call that comes down, and that's probably what I'd say would be the most common. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, if ducks are way off in a distance, they're only going to hear about the first 4 or 5 notes of that, guys. So I try to not necessarily feather it down all the way because it's kind of wasted air and wasted time. So you see the ducks and they're way off. You're wanting to hit them hard, but like I said, you're wasting time by bringing it all the way down. So what I like to do, and again, to each his own, but what I've found that works for me is to stay on top with those 5 or 6 notes really hard, and it would sound something like this. That method there is kind of like barking a cut down. You're really just hammering them as hard as you can, getting them to set their wings, getting them to break down, getting their attention from either they're way high or they're way off in a distance. Again, you can do the, and that sounds good, and there's nothing wrong with it. But in my opinion, you're kind of wasting some time down there at the bottom when you could really be. Right there, you're really staying on top. You're really going to get their attention and let them know, hey, I'm right here. I'm not wasting time. You get their attention, and that's the start. So that's my hail call.
So for average duck hunter, you're talking about how far are you talking about when those ducks? I mean, you're talking about.
I mean,
can they be too far as long as you're seeing them?
If you think they can hear you, and you got a decent spread, it's all works together. But in my opinion, you got a good decoy spread. I like spinners. Now I don't put them right in the middle of the hole. I do mine a different way. That's a whole nother episode, spinners.
Right.
But if you got a big enough something to get their attention, as far as decoys and spinners or whatever you choose, you got all that. If you can see a duck and you think he can hear you, my opinion, I mean, what do you got to lose?
Exactly.
You just as well call.
That's true. Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
something here, you know, we went out earlier in the week and called a few in and just kind of took duck inventory. And you can ask Seth, the guy filming, we wasn't seeing no ducks overs. I said, give me 30 seconds. And for 30 seconds, I did that right there. Bang, 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 bang. Can't see ducks, but I know there's ducks in the air somewhere that can hear me. And in 15 seconds, you had ducks working. You had ducks coming over to look. So that's a kind of a tip, you know. If you think there's ducks around, man, hit those hell calls hard, and you'll be surprised.
Hey, that's good stuff. You know, I'm telling you, that's good stuff. We're doing the video together, but that's good stuff. That's learning right there.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't something I planned on telling.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. You get that for nothing.
So hell call, what else we got?
All right, hell call. Then we're going to go into a transition. What I would call transition, kind of ducks. It's just kind of blended noise. You're sounding like more than one duck. So, all right, so you've done your hell calls. You got their attention. They're kind of getting a little closer. They're kind of setting their wings. You want to. I always try to sound like different ducks. Just like I can lower my voice or I can talk high. You want to sound like two different people, three different people, four different people, different ducks.
Right.
So you want to go regular tone. None of those ducks really sounded the same. You can change your tone, you can change your cadence, you can change your speed. Everything's just, you know, you got a slow duck. I like following it up with a fast duck. And then the death call is that low duck. Just you're really getting deep, really getting low. And, you know, that's just letting them know, hey, maybe there's more than one duck around here. This ain't just, I'm not just going to a couple ducks. It sounds like a whole bunch of ducks. So you get your hell call, then you get your transition.
Yeah, the transition call, now you're talking about something that the ducks will be on the corners for an
Yeah.
average hunter. You don't want to be calling them when they're coming right at you.
Right.
Like
Hey,
the wings.
rule number one. If a duck's doing what you want him to do and he's coming to you, don't do nothing. All you can do is mess it up.
That's true.
There's nothing good that can come of it.
Right.
You know, yeah, I like to single cut as they're coming in, and we'll get into that on the feed call. But I'll do a little cadence here. I'm gonna do a hail call. I got their attention. They're coming. I'm gonna do some different ducks, and then we're gonna, after that, we'll get into the feed. So it will be. All right, you got their attention down. You want to kind of go. Alright, so you got their attention. Now you got them worked in close. Now they're really getting right. So at that point, everybody likes to do the feed call. There's different ways you can do a feed call. You can do a rolling feed where you would go, you either say dooga dooga or tugga tugga. Whatever works for you. You know, I'm a tuh. I do lots of single cuts. But I can do a rolling feed. You go tugga 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 tugga. So it would sound. And you go tugga 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 tugga. You still got to have the hot air. You still don't really want to spit your notes. You still got to be a clean shut off. So that would be your rolling feed. Kitty kitty tugga tugga. That's that. Now you can do what I do is like single cuts. You're putting tuh. 1 tuh, 2, 3, and just kind of staggering them out to where, honestly, when you hear ducks feeding in a field, it's a lot what it sounds like. And a lot can change, you know, I changed tone there with just my hand position. Kind of goes back to that sound like different ducks. Mm-hmm. So your feed call, it's kind of a confidence call. It kind of makes them settle a little bit. So you got different feed. You can put drags in ta-ta-ta-ta. That's a little bit of everything, you know. Just whatever you think works and what looks like it's working, that's what I like. But the death call for me Now, a jerk string will finish ducks. A lot of times I try to finish them with my call, and by doing that, that's the single cut, what I call cut. Anybody that's watched any of my videos, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, you know that, hey, when you hear, they're usually right at the hole or in the hole, and I'm just trying to soothe them, get them down a little closer, and then just the next, I'll tell you what comes after this. Kill them.
That's right.
That's usually the last thing a lot of them hear. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean,
that's a blend of feeding call.
That's a blend of different feed call. Yeah. Your single cuts are and you're really shutting it off real sharp.
And there you go. And like I said, this was something I want, you know, it's just so simple that you overlook it, but there's a lot of people out there that want to know how to do that.
And, you know, I mean, you could go into so much, you know. Ducks are a bouncing hen or whatever, you know. A lot of times, especially with a 410, some of our holes are a little big, so you can't shoot them at the other end. So if they're trying to light off the hole, you're call it pumping them down, so you can actually get them down in the hole, and before they land, you can get them to you. But it's just whatever works.
Adding flash is what we call it.
That's it. As long as the duck's doing what you want him to do, just either keep doing what you're doing or don't do nothing at all, because at that point all you can do is mess it up. I would be remiss to not say, you know, not everybody's blessed to have good teachers. I am doubly blessed. My brother, my uncle took me when I was little, and they taught me when and when not, which is a lot more important than how it sounds, is the timing of the call. Yeah. Knowing when and when not to call. So, but as far as blowing a duck call, Rick Dunn, man, he taught me how to blow a duck call the right way.
Right.
And
you are blowing echoes. So.
I am blowing an echo, and I will till they throw dirt in my face. So, yeah, it's calling ducks no matter where you are. It's the same ducks. It's just whatever works for you where you're at. So, anyway.
Health call, transition call, feed call.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it. Look it up. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. And if you got questions, shoot them to us. We'll answer them if we can. And hope everybody has a good season.
Kill them.
Yeah! That's what I'm talking about.